Hello, good evening, welcome to the final episode of the season, or the year should I say, of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right at the bottom of the screen, and if you are new here, this isn't a tutorial show or anything like that at all. Loads of that stuff already out there. No, this is a place where for the next 2 hours, I'm going to be painting some of my miniatures, and you can feel free to come and join me live and paint some of your own stuff as well. You might not actually be painting, you might be making something, or kind of getting down and deep with any kind of other hobby it is what you've got going, but you just want the company, and that's exactly what this place is all about. This is the last show of the year. I keep calling it the season, but that's not the case at all. It's the last show of the year. Last week was Christmas, and we're about to go into 2024, and we're sat here today at 151 subscribers. We've come a really, really long way. So thank you very much to all of you who have shared Easy 8's name. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed and make the community exactly what it is today. I made a promise a little while ago to some of you, to all of you, saying that if you help me get to 150 subscribers before the end of this year, I'd clean out my painting palette. So just a few hours ago, earlier on today, I did exactly that, and I cleaned out my painting palette. It absolutely galls me to do it. Staff are saying, clean that palette. It's done, bro. It's done. It looks, well, I was going to say it looks as good as new, but it's not as good as new, but it's pretty close. It's as close as it's ever going to get. And I was thinking I could just spray it all like in a particular colour, like with a primer or something like that. I decided not to because the idea was to clean it as promised. So yeah, I've got a really light reflective palette now, so while I'm painting stuff you're probably going to be blinded. Your fault, not mine. Thanks for getting me 150 subscribers. Yeah. Honestly, thank you so much. If you haven't already, and you do like what we do here, please do consider subscribing to the show. Every subscription is very, very precious to me and the community, and it does make the community grow, so please do that. Maybe, perhaps while you're there, hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single video like I did earlier on today. It was a surprise video, and if you hit that bell icon, it will tell you when I'm going live. And also, if you want to, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to join me after the show at the Easy 8 After Party on Discord, you can do. I got all of those out without making a single mistake, and that's very unusual. All of the links to all of our platforms are just down there in the description of this video, along with a load of choicey selections of people who I like to support, so you can go and check out their links as well. People might be Overlord Games, you should definitely go and check those guys out. Purple Lion Creation, that's my dad. He's written down as Lorna over there as my stepmum in the live chat, but is actually having some problems recently with a login. So it looks like it's my stepmum, but it's my dad. Hi, Geoff. Purple Lion Creations makes bespoke models for you, your terrain, your scenics, your buildings, whatever it is that you want. You can see Charlie Foxtrot models. There's loads of stuff down there. Go and check out John over Out of This World Models and Minis, who came and watched live earlier on, all the way from the States. Didn't come over, obviously, but just watched from the States and watched me cleaning my palette earlier on. I didn't expect to have any live views on that at all, but actually quite a few people came over to watch me clean my palette. Now either there's a lot of you out there that need to go and do something with your lives, or that was actually really fun. So yeah, I'm now missing all my colours and textures. It does look pretty and clean though. Well, cleanish. Anyway, it was just Christmas, wasn't it? Christmas isn't about presents, but we do get presents sometimes. So did you get a haul? Did you come away from Christmas with something that you're now looking forward to paint? If so, tell me all about it. If you're painting something this evening, regardless of whether it's for Christmas or not, come and tell me about it, because I'm genuinely interested. You can put pictures up on Facebook, on Discord if you want to as well, and talk us through what your projects are. Perhaps you've got something to celebrate. Maybe you're having a bit of a struggle and you want some motivation. That's what the show is all about. I've got loads of things to paint, and I've got boxes and boxes and hordes and hordes. I've started making a selection over in the corner over there. I've actually got my own shelving unit of 40k stuff. It's getting a little bit out of control. I've been given some gifts. First things first, this is for John from Out of This World Models and Minis. I got them. Got some googly eyes. So wait for a future update video of me putting googly eyes on my vortex mixer, just like John did. I'm sure it's going to be a giggle. I'm so excited about googly eyes. Some comments going in. Good evening, community, says Staff. It's me, not Lorna, says Geoff. I see Lorna has split a personality again, says Adrian. Kez says, I'm starting on my Clan Smoke Jaguar mechs. No new tanks for me, says Staff. Hi guys, thanks for all coming along. I hope you have a lovely evening and I hope Christmas was great to you. Do you know what? Let's go straight over to the workbench because I've got some cool stuff to show you over there. Here we go. So here's my workbench. Here is my palette, all clean and new, and my white balance is sorting out the reflective nature of that white right there. That is some intenseness there. So yeah, as I said, I've got some googly eyes. Some googly eyes from a vortex mixer. I decided today to put the autofocus back on. If that bothers you, please do let me know. With a lot of bright things coming into play, my auto exposure is going mental, and if that's becoming a challenge to watch, please let me know. Click of a button, I can stop that. Okay. Creation station, googly eyes. More googly eyes than I can throw a vortex mixer at, so expect them on my cats. Googly eyes. What else did I get? Here is a wonderful gift that I got from a member of our community. This was given to me by Stafford, who is right there in the live chat right now. This is a 3D printed 28mm King Tiger. Thank you so much, Stafford. This is a really, really lovely gift. Very thoughtful, completely unnecessary, and all the more precious. So thank you very much for giving me this. This is one of the projects that I look forward to getting started on very, very soon, hopefully into the new year. And I've already planned what I want to do with it in terms of its colour scheme. I'm going to do it in the late war German camouflage because it was very late war, obviously. And I'm going to do it very, very heavy camouflage. So rather than having a lot of the dark yellow colour coming through, it's going to be mostly green with probably 50% green and then probably 25% red and 25% yellow, roughly. It's an absolutely fantastic model. And Stafford gave to me, said it's not the best quality, it's superb quality, and it's a gift, and that makes it even more special. So thank you so much. It will sit pride of place on my shelf, which those of you that have been to the studio before, because I've got friends that watch this, there's a shelf right here, got a little one over there, and there's a little one just over there as well, and something for me to always kind of look at when I'm painting here, not on the show. And it will sit pride of place. So thank you so much for that. It's really, really nice. Staff says, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy painting it. I'm sure I will, no doubt. It's a lovely model. Really, really is. Good quality. Great big holes underneath it so that all the liquid resin drains out. And you can see all the old supports in there as well. Maybe I'll pull those out. Maybe I'll leave them in there. Who cares? It's lovely. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. Plastic Monkey's joined us. Good evening. Hello, Plastic Monkey. Thanks for coming along again. Hope you're doing well. I also got, this is really cool, this is a present from my dad. This is Geoff in the live chat. Yeah, I've got one of these. So cool. I've got a Joy Toy McFarlane's Space Marine in, well, it feels like 1-to-1 scale. It's enormous, right? It is an action figure style model, so it is posable. And it is a Dark Angels. So it's got a Dark Angels symbol on the chest up here, on the shoulder, sorry. And a friend of mine a little while ago, just a couple of days ago, told me that you can go on places like Etsy and eBay and things like that, where there are people who have 3D printers who've made measurements and they do additional things for them. So if you want to like swap shoulder pads out or give them extra bits and pieces, different heads and things like that, you do have to be a bit brutal and pull things off sometimes to be able to do that. But yeah, you can do it. You can put other things on them. I'm probably just going to paint him as he is. Let me stand that off. But he's super duper. He needs a tiny bit of cleaning up. He's got a few mould lines here and there because he is an action figure, not a model. But even models need a bit of cleaning up. You can see a big sprue line here on the back of his bolt rifle, for example. Absolutely stoked with this. Thanks very much, Dad. Happy Christmas to me. That's a future project, I think. And I was thinking, I could sand the emblem off the shoulder and not make him a Dark Angel and make him something else. But you know what? I'm going to make him a Dark Angel. I've never painted one before, so it'll be a great project to do. Love him. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I have drunkenly and viscerally played with him on the table, like pow, 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 and shot up the cats and things like that. Cheers, mate. Love that. Overlord Games says minus 3,600. I don't know what you mean, but thanks for that number. Cheers. Minus 3,600. Today, what I'm going to be painting up, something a little bit different. I did mention this at the end of last week. I've got a couple of miniatures here in little boxes. Some of you might recognise these, might be familiar, might not be. they come with some additional bits and pieces from a board game called Gloomhaven. Now, I bought Gloomhaven for my partner for Christmas last year. It's a huge box of stuff, maps and tiles and books and counters, so many counters. It took an entire day just popping them all out of the punch boards. I bought some very cool organisers inside. Double monitors, there you go. And it comes. The idea is it plays like a D&D game. So it's a dungeon crawler. You go through dungeons, you find enemies like monsters and whatever. You kill them, you loot them, you level up. There's a lot more to it than that. A lot more. And there are 17 characters in all. You start with about 6 of them that you can choose from, up to 4 players. Me and my partner play it. And as the game progresses, you get to unlock more characters. And they all have special abilities and whatever. And it's super cool. So, these are the characters that me and my partner both play. I played this one, my partner plays this one, and she asked me if I would paint them up. So I was like, absolutely, of course I'll do them on the show, that would be great. So this little character here is the Brute. He's basically just a big kick-ass guy who goes around and messes stuff up. He is the damage dealer, and he is the damage absorber to a degree, and is looked after by any of his other companions. And this one would be stuck in there, the Tinkerer. Massive size difference. Any of you that know my partner, she's about this big. This one here is all about having lots of gadgets and sits at a distance and uses this little wrist-mounted crossbow with grappling hooks and potions and bombs and all sorts of stuff. This guy here, sword and shield, ruins things. Nice and simple. So yeah, I thought I'd bring these along. I had no expectations to be able to finish them today in one show, but I thought it'd be just something nice to do at the end of the year, do something completely different that I've not done before. And I have been asked before to do D&D figures and just kind of never really got around to them. So I thought this would be a nice little sideshow more than anything. So Gloomhaven, let me know in the comment section or in the live chat if you've ever played Gloomhaven or if you're interested in it. And yeah, I'm just going to get started. They've got a tiny amount of sprue to clean off in some places. I'm not really going to worry about that too much. These aren't models that are going to go on display. They are counters for a game. They're going to be handled a lot, put away quite roughly, I reckon. So I'm going to go for it. Now, I've got some little boxes here of all their supporting stuff. So they have lots of like decks of cards and counters and things like that. But if I was to pull up the Tinkerer on here, for example, there should be like a little data card inside. If I remember right, it has like a little picture on them. For reference, yeah, cool. Some comments going in. Stafford says, surely clean the pauldron and paint it as a raptor. Yeah, that was my initial thought, but I've got a lot of raptors. I've painted them for a long time, but I thought I'd do a Dark Angel. Or if I was to remove that shoulder pad, I could do lots of different types of them, but then I'd have to paint them in lots of different colours. So I'm just going to do them as a Dark Angel. I'll do something quite fun and interesting with him, I suppose. Adrian says, nah, keep him as the first Legion. Yeah, I'm gonna. If you wanted Chaos Marine, you could have put some horns on it. And my tanks boxed sets have arrived. Yes, you were saying the other day, weren't you, that you got the Kursk box set, etc., etc., some other bits and pieces. A big haul for you. Looking forward to seeing your updates. What else is going in here? Loads of comments. Dave says, doesn't need to put horns on them, just a picket fence. Alright, it's getting a bit aggressive now, isn't it? Okay, here we go. So we've got a Brute and we've got a Tinkerer. And you can see they've got a little bit of backstory and you've got loads of stats and things on them like that. But I'm not going to go into that because that's not what we're about. As you can see, there's not really much of a colour reference, so I do have quite a bit of free reign. So I'm going to try and stay to the palette as much as I can. I can see that on the Tinkerer, we kind of got a very sort of coppery looking armour with a funny sort of bronzy looking skin with blue lights. Seems to be some sort of a theme on there. Oh, I've got hiccups. And then on the Brute over here, lots of yellows and golds, but on a lot of the other artwork, their skin is almost a blue colour. So I think I can just try and copy these, and it's going to be very, very simple. This guy looks like he's got a little bit of a beard as well. An old one. I like him. Cool. So, yeah, here we go. Just going to get started. First things first, though, I'm just going to remove that little bit of sprue. There's a little bit of sprue on the base. I'm not going to worry about that, because I do plan on putting a little bit of, like, ground texture on there later on. But I've just put my scalpel blade on there, so I'm gonna do it now, I suppose. Why not? I suppose if I change my mind and I don't want to do ground texture on them, then there's a reason for that, isn't there? What I was thinking about is painting the bases a colour that's iconic to each of them. Because they are counters in a game and not models on the battlefield, so to speak, I think it's quite nice to be able to see the colours that represent them. This is not a plastic that wants to clean very easily, so I'm probably going to give up on this because I have a feeling I'm going to ruin the little miniature. Because they are not miniatures as we know it. The plastic that they're made from is very different. And while they are very good and quite detailed, they're not the sort of quality that you would expect from a War Games miniature thing. They are still very cool, but just not the same sort of quality. And that's fine, that's okay, that's not what the game's about. There's lots of other stuff going on in there. For example, the 3 little bolts that sit on the back of this wrist-mounted crossbow, the sort of bolt heads on them, they aren't very good condition, which is fine. It's fine. Who cares? Not me, I don't care. I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to paint him. Right, screw it. Let's get rid of the very white palette, it's blinding me. The cards that are in here for the Brute, they are a blue colour. Yeah. And the cards for the Tinkerer, I believe, are green. If I remember right. I concentrate on my own stuff so much that during that game I don't really know. Oh, they're more of a bronzy sort of colour, like a brownie colour. And those are the colours that I'm going to paint the bases so that they stay as a reference when you're playing the game. Think I need me a firefly, says Stafford. Just one firefly? I agree with Dave. You sure you want just one? Okay, let's get me a piece of paper because I'm going to do some priming on them. Here we go. Just going to turn on my compressor. Let's get a bit of primer. You can use white or grey or black. I think I'm just going to go with grey, meet it in the middle. Make them look like models then, right? Give them a bit of a shake. Stick them on the Waz-O-Matic. Because you've always got to waz your paints. Especially this one here. Hasn't been used for quite a while. Give them a waz. And if you've got googly eyes, put them on your Waz-O-Matic. There we go. Not going to fuss about it too much. It's just a really nice, different thing to do, you know? Of course, every time we unlock a new character and we change our character, then I'll have a new one to paint, but I may not bring them to the show every single time. I just thought it would be nice for my partner, you know. Hey, I'm going to do your things today. Was it? Staff says he's trying to get one of everything, one of every tank that was in World War II. That's an ambitious thing to do. Let me know how you get on with that. Are you going to do one of every tank, or are you going to do one of every tank that's in the rulebook of the games that you play? Be a nice little collection, though. Probably put a bit too much primer in there, but whatever. I'm going to stick a couple of drops of flow improver in there. That will help dilute it down a little bit, but also help that very thick paint flow through the paint chamber. Let's give them a good old mix. Here we go. Bring some lights in. It's a bit dull here. There we go. 101 Sappy Sid. Hi 101. It's a very lengthy name to have to say. If I'm just going to call it out all the time, I'm going to call you 101. Good evening. Hello, mate. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you had a good Christmas. How are you? Are you painting something this evening? Let us know. Take some photos. Put them up in Facebook. I'd love to see that. Okay. Here's the first one. The Brute. It's nice and big. Good one to start with. The other one's really tiny. It's half the size of everything else I've painted before. My partner says, you can't paint something like that small. Like, I'm going to give it a really good go. Dan's got a 38T. I do have a 38T. Oh, you need a 38T. You can't have my 38T. I like him too much. It's coming out a bit thick. I'm going to put a little bit of airbrush thinner in there as well. It's coming out a little bit on the heavy side. There we go. Just one drop. And what I'll also do I'll just put a damp brush in there as well when I mix it up. So I'm not going to get rid of all of the water in my bristles. There we go, let's give that a mix. Might push the pressure up a little bit on the compressor as well if it's still a bit fighting me. That's better. Chose a perfect colour here, of course. Can't see what it is that I'm painting. Can't see where the primer is going. You can just see that a change in the sheen. Should have chosen a darker colour to start with. It's coming out quite liberally though, so that's good. Make sure I get all those undercrofts in there under his coat, his cloak, coat, jacket, the animal hide that he is wearing. Let's give him some cold air. What I'm going to do in a minute, I think, I could chuck a wash on him just to show the details. The only problem with doing that right now is that I haven't got a hairdryer to keep him dry, or to dry him out rather, which might be a bit of a nuisance. See how it goes. Now I'm going to have to give these guys a very healthy dash of varnish once they're done to help protect them. Like I said, they're going to be handled quite a lot during their lifetime. I hope my partner likes them. What are you guys working on this evening? Are you working on a project? Kez has already said he's working on a Battletech Miniatures. Is anybody else working on something this evening, or are you just coming along for a pre-New Year's drink? I'm not drinking a boozy drink right now, just got myself a cup of tea for the first half. Right guys, we need to get Danny a hairdryer. You don't have to buy me everything, but you know, if you buy me a hairdryer, I'm not going to say no thank you, but you don't have to buy me things. Here's a little Tinkerer. It's actually a really good character as the Tinkerer. Like, if the Tinkerer's up close and being beat on, playing the Tinkerer wrong. It's really good from a few feet away, shooting you with crossbows and chucking potions in and helping heal their friends. Excellent. Okay, still got a little bit of primer left in there, but I don't think I really need it. I might do the bases, just the edges of the bases there. I want to be careful that I don't want to overhandle it and then all that paint come off. So again, take it nice and easy. The primer is really important. It gives something for the rest of the paints to hang on to. There we go. Okay, sit over there for a minute, behave yourself. Let's just get the rest of this primer out. Yeah, I put a bit too much in there, didn't I? Used to doing bigger builds. Ooh, still going. Okay, cool. Right, let me just purge this out a minute. Dave's coming out with the eyes. Oh, I see. Put googly eyes on the hairdryer. Googly eyes on everything in the studio. I have enough. I have enough. Someone put googly eyes on the Tyranids a little while ago. That was brilliant. Just take a second to flush this out properly because primer left any amount of it really inside the airbrush is not a good thing. So just gotta make sure that I clean it out proper. Okie dokie. Done. Okay, so I'm thinking about doing skin tones. Now I know I've got the reference material here, but I don't have to stick to it. I can do whatever I want. We've got another new face in the live chat. Oh. It's in a language, it looks like a Gaelic language, and I'm going to ruin it if I say it, but I'm going to have a go. Failheen? Yeah. Hi Failheen. Please write that phonetically, because I know that I have mispronounced that. But thank you for coming along. Nice to see a new face in the live chat. I hope that you find something here that you enjoy, and I hope you find a bit of company. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Hope you had a good Christmas, and I hope life's treating you well. I'll have a bit of my tea, because I'm going to, probably say that name again. Yeah, I'll ruin everything. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't have to follow the pictures for reference. I don't have to follow them at all if I don't want to. As long as they look kind of nice, it'll be alright, wouldn't it? It's just a gift for my partner, really. But I'm going to try and stay as true to it as I can. I'm going to do some maybe weird flesh tones on them. I'll try and keep this one a bit more pallid. I'll try and keep this one a little bit more weirder. I would, but I'm not 100% sure myself. Cool, cheers, makes me feel a bit better actually, thank you very much. I've got some barbarian flesh here, which I think would be good for the tinkerer. I've never used barbarian flesh before, so I think that it'll be a nice opportunity to give it a go. But I think you can see there's a nice little colour for that, isn't it? I haven't pre-planned these at all, I'm just making it up on the fly. And I've got something for the brute. I've got here, I think it's a pallid flesh or dead flesh. And I think that there will be quite nice, and obviously I'll use washes and things with them as well, so we'll see how it goes. Also, a benefit with this is that they're airbrush paints, so they're going to go on nice and quick. Other artwork for the brute has shown them being quite a ghostly bluey green colour, and there was a technical paint. I used to have it and I wasn't using it for anything, and I think I got rid of it. And the idea is that you paint it over a white or an off-white base colour, slap it on a thin layer, and it kind of goes on like almost ghostly. And I think I threw it away because I wasn't using it, it was taking up space. I'm having a little look around now. Nope, I don't see it. But I think I've got my choices here. I think these are going to be good. So, I can see already that the Tinkerer is still drying. So I'm going to move to the Brute, and I'm going to hit some fresh air from the airbrush, and I'm just going to go over some dead flesh. But of course, I'm just going to give it a good old shake first. And I'm going to stick it on the Wasmatic. Always was your paints. I think I've opened this once, so yeah. It needs a really good shake. It's a really good mix. Got to give it a waz. There we go. Yeah, you can see that I've used it sparingly once. There's a little bit on the nozzle there. And that's about it, really. Okay. Just put in a few drops there. It's coming out fine. Just going to hit it with some cold air from the airbrush. Make sure that the primer that's on there is not tacky, as dry as it can be. Not as effective as having the hot air from a hairdryer, of course, but it does help. Excellent, okay. Quite a nice colour this actually. Very minty sort of green. Wasmatic. Thanks for being such a supporter of the Wasmatic stuff. It's just one of those silly words that came out once and it's never really got away. I'm going to make sure that I cover as much of the model as possible, because I don't know really where the flesh is supposed to be. But it's also, at this stage, good to get another layer of paint on there just to help protect it. So I'm going to do it on this hide as well. Me and my partner love playing board games together. She's not a war gamer, not at all. She's a big Whovian, so she likes Doctor Who, so she's got a couple of Doctor Who board games that I bought her a few years ago for her birthday. And we love playing board games together, so it's nice that we kind of got this little crossover thing where I can make models for her as well. We need to get Danny a Dryomatic. That's what it needs to be called. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a nice wash colour that will sort of complement the skin tone, show off the detail, and I'll apply it all over, and it will help pick out all the detail all over him. And I'm thinking that a nice Seraphim Sepia will go quite nicely over this, because it won't be too dark, it won't be too contrasting, and it'll bring a little bit of warmth through what is, I think, quite a cool looking colour. Quite a cold one. Geoff says, Overlord Games, Stafford is in the market for a 1/100th T38 or 38T. Thought you'd be the man to help. Look at that. Selling through the channel already. Cool. I think we're there. Bit of cold air. A little bit of dry brushing on this bad boy later on as well, especially on that animal skin, the animal pelts. Pelts, that's the word I was looking for earlier, not hides. When can we get Easy 8 decals? Getting decals made is very expensive. Something that I can look into, but yeah, you're not going to like the costs of what I found so far. To get good quality ones, you're talking easily 30 quid a sheet. A4. You can make them yourself, of course, but I've never had good luck with that, and people who I've known who've done the same have also had similar problems. But if there's someone out there that can do it, I would love to know. Right, again, just going to purge the airbrush. This is just normal paint, so I don't need to worry about overdoing it. Cool, and now I've got a barbarian flesh for the tinkerer. Give him a good old shake. I don't think I've ever used this one at all. Oh, I have, look at that, I lie. I tell a lie. So, give him a shake, and of course, stick him on the Easy 8. Patent pending Wazomatic. It's not patent pending. It's not patent pending at all. Oops, I dropped him. Where'd he go? There he is. Excellent. And the colour to shade this one, I'm not entirely sure. That was a sludgy drop that just went in there. I wonder if that's going to block my airbrush. Okay, here we go. Could do with a little bit of cold air as well. Just a bit tacky to touch on the base. Staff, have you built that M10 yet? I'd love to know, have you built it? It's time for you to get your full collection out as well and take a photo and stick it on Facebook for us so we can all see it. Okay. Yeah, I like the colours that these are coming out in. This is a better colour than I expected it to be, actually. Just a little bit of cold air there just to help agitate and dry the paint. It's not that cold today in the studio, but that's because I was up here earlier on cleaning out the palette and I had the little heater on in here because it was absolutely Baltic earlier on today. I think an Agrax Earth shade or even a Reichland Flesh shade might be a good shade for this one. If I go too dark, which I think the Reichland Flesh shade might be too powerful for such a small miniature. So I'm going to be very careful about what colour I select on this. Not yet, it's on my to-do list, or the to-do pile with the Tiger 2. That man is getting through his list quite quick as well. Right, let's get rid of the last of that. Excellent. And a quick purge there. I think that's the last time I'm going to be using the airbrush today. Maybe. Being able to use the cold air from it is quite helpful, to be honest. Just a bit more water in there. Lovely. These little squeegee bottles with a little straw on the top, one of the best things I bought for helping me in the hobby. You can pick them up for just a couple of pounds on Amazon, pack of 3. Best thing I've got. Right, leave you there. Turn that compressor off for a minute. Okay, cool. I threw out all of my old tissue bits earlier on, so I'm just going to get myself a fresh piece of tissue. You can tell it's recently been Christmas because it's got Christmas stars and snowflakes all over it. Right, clean my brush, dry that off. Lush. Okay, let's move that away for a minute. I've got my Brute. So I was thinking that a nice Seraphim Sepia would be a nice shade to use. It looks quite dark in the bottle, but it's quite a nice warm colour when it goes on. And for this little fella here, an Agrax Earth shade is very, very dark and very, very cool. But I've also got, where is it? Reichland Flesh shade. Which is quite a bit different. If I get my now very clean palette, thank you very much, past Danny, and let's just get one of my brushes over here, and I'm going to put like a little wipe of each one in this white palette and just see the colour that comes through them all. So if I go to Agrax Earth shade, this is one of my go-tos really. It's a very dark brown. It's very close to black really. It very noticeably is brown, so I wouldn't say that it is a black one, but it's just very, very grimy sort of colour. Let's just give the flesh shade a quick go. Some comments going in. Dave says, I was wondering what gun barrel to use on his M10 because he hasn't made his either. Oh, okay. Geoff says, Dan, gotta make more sand dunes and Oasis. Might need you to do dry, cracked earth effects again, please. Yes, of course, I will more than happily help out with that. Here is the Reichland Flesh shade. Actually, that's quite a nice colour. That it has the sort of coolness and even the depth that the Agrax has, but it's a little bit lighter. It's got less aggressive tones to it, not as deep. And then I've got the Seraphim Sepia, which is a completely different animal altogether. Not too much, almost orangey in its nature. So I think for the Tinkerer, I don't know. What do you guys think? Here's my Tinkerer. Or maybe a Seraphim would be quite nice. I think a Seraphim Sepia. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. I'll do that one. Okay, let's wash that out. Let's put these away. Always make sure the backs of those little pots are closed. Okay, Agrax can go away too. Oh, actually, do I want to do Agrax? What colour did I say I was going to do on him? I can't remember now. Seraphim Sepia on both, isn't it? Okay, cool. Right, let's move that way. I'm going to use a little bit of cold air from the airbrush just to help accelerate the drying on these minis. They're quite nice as they are. It's quite nice to have just bold colours for counters for a game. So that might be another reason to why not want to go too far in depth with the detail, so to speak, on these little guys. I am going to bring that palette in case I need to control the flow of paint. So I'm just going to put that over there. You see how intense that white is? That's why I don't always do it. That's right, I'm telling you guys off. Making me paint, or making me clean my paint. Right. Some Seraphim Sepia. A little bit in the palette to control it. Okay, so I'm going to try and focus basically on the skin areas on him. It looks like he's got hairy arms and a bare six-pack, whatever, face and things. So I'm just going to start applying it. I'm going to try and control it as much as possible. I don't want it to kind of pool or stain or anything like that in uncontrollable looking blobs. But I do want it to kind of cover everywhere because it's going to help me identify the detail all over this guy. Do let me know if we're not zoomed in enough. We're going to be working on the same sort of size miniature all day. It's really quite funky, isn't he? Roll for Creation Shop. Evening all. Another new face. Thank you so much for coming along. Thanks for taking the time to find us. And welcome to the show. I hope you find something entertainment, and I hope you find a little bit of joy and fun while you're here. Hope you find a little bit of company, maybe a bit of motivation, maybe a bit of inspiration. Let us know who you are and what you're painting this evening. If you are painting anything, what games do you play? What do you like painting? Let me know if it's not what you're into this show, so that I can change it to make it better. Because I'm not very good at what I do. I hope Christmas was good. I hope life is treating you well. And thanks again for coming to find us. I'm going to try and do a nice little wood effect on that shield later on. Wood is one of those things that I cannot paint very well. So I'm really quite nervous about painting that shield because it's quite a key thing on this miniature. It's going to stand out, especially if I get it wrong. We'll see. We will see. So many comments going now, I can't even keep up now, can I? Lorna says, or sorry, rather, Geoff says, did the British M10 have the 17-pound gun? Because that's a good idea. The M10, do you know, I always get the M10 mixed up. They've got all these different names, like the Achilles and the Wolverine and the Jackson. I think, like the Jackson, I think is the M36. And they weren't actually really named these things very commonly. It's not like everyone referred to it as the Wolverine. I think even the Wolverine is just a name that we use now, looking back, to try and help identify between all the different sorts of war machines that there were back then. I don't think it was actually ever called the Wolverine. The Achilles, I do believe, was called the Achilles, and the Jackson, again, I don't know if it was ever really called that at that time. Very much like the Sherman, wasn't ever really referred to, especially by the Americans, as a Sherman. It was always known as the M4, or the M4 medium, or the medium M4. It was the British that named them, all these names, after American generals. General Sherman, General Stuart, so on and so forth. And yeah, like obviously Achilles. I don't remember there ever being a general called Achilles. So I get stuck and I don't remember which ones they always wear. I think the Achilles is a 17-pounder. There we go. I really like that. I think that's a really nice colour scheme. That looks like another sword that he's got down there. Maybe? Something hanging down the side there. Hard to tell. He's got lots of like tails, like pelts or whatever hanging down here. So, yeah. God only knows. Right, he can go over there. Excellent. Let's wash my brush out a second. Mike Turner's joined us. Yo, hi Mike. Hadn't seen you on the show for a little while. Hope you're doing well. Did you have a good Christmas? Hope you did. Again, just going to hit this little fella with some cold air. Overlord says, we're not painting this evening. We're doing some business admin ready for 2024. Yeah, I suppose it is now a good time to be getting all that sort of stuff done. I don't own my own business, thank goodness, because I wouldn't have the first clue where to start with all that sort of stuff. And paperwork and personal organisation skills are not my best thing. So, yeah, best luck to you. Okay. Again, I'm going to control the flow of paint by just taking some bristles there. Let's see if this is the right colour for it. Yeah, it's a pretty good colour. Good old Seraphim. Seraphim Sepia and Agrax Earthshade are really a couple of workhorses for me. I really get a lot out of them. I use Seraphim Sepia quite extensively on my Tyranids, and I used to use Agrax Earthshade. And as I sort of review my own abilities, skills, and previous work, the more I look at them, the more I'm starting to think about going back to Agrax Earthshade. It makes a big difference in the overall sort of aesthetic of them, and I think that the Sepia makes them look a little too soft, makes them look a little too cartoony. This little fella's got a very, very difficult face. It's going to be a real struggle painting that one. Okay. Well, that's enough to get started on, I think. He's got little bare legs, little bare arms, I think a bare chest, and a really weird alien-style head thing. Very peculiar little creature. All very original monsters and things. It's not your standard thing like D&D where they're like, orcs and elves and things like that. They've got very, very different things, and that's one of the things I really like about this game. Gloomhaven. You should go and check it out. It is the biggest board game that I think that you can buy. It comes in a chest. It's nearly 10 kilos for the whole lot, and it was £140. There are nearly 100 scenarios, like missions to play, and I say we've had it for over a year now, and we've only played like 2 or 3 of them, just because, busy lives, right? And it's a very intimidating game to start with, but yeah, we're getting there. Let's go back on the comments. Does that mean in the future we might get a Yank tank called a Trump? He's not a general though, is he? I mean, I know he's the commander, the ultimate commander of the US forces, but I don't think he's a general. Is he? No. Mike says he's all good. The McFarlane will be fun to paint. Worthy of a thorough soapy wash first though. Good to know. I hadn't even thought about that. Thank you very much for the heads up. That's good to know. If you decide to pull it apart, leave it in some soapy water first. I wasn't going to, because I quite like the posability of it, and I like the fact it's an action figure. We'll just see how that goes. Kez says, if we do, it better be a good tank, then it could be a trump card. Stop it. Puns. I love puns. Dave says, so does that mean we get a Boris? What? No. No, he's not a general, apart from being generally annoying. Oh, it's going to go down the political road. I'm not going to get involved. Roll for Creation Shop says, the amount of Seraphim and Agrax going on, I thought this was a Duncan Rhodes video for a second. Oh, do you know what? To be even mentioned in the same sentence. Thank you so much. He is a little bit of a painting, a bit of a painting saint. Yeah, he inspires me a lot. Sappy Sid says, Gloomhaven is awesome. Yeah, I love it. We've only played it a little bit, but now that we've kind of got the rules down, we're starting to really kind of roll on with it, which is really cool. I recommend it to anybody. Right, I was chatting there just to kind of give these guys a little bit of a chance to sort of saturate and dry, really. There's a little bit of pooling going on, and I'm very mindful of that as I apply a little bit of cold air from the airbrush. I don't want to blow it around or blow it out of any of the recesses that I'm on, so I'm holding the airbrush quite far away, and just hopefully that little bit of chilly air helps agitate and dry that paint. As I'm doing, I'm just taking the opportunity to think about how I'm going to paint these guys. I think that like armor and maybe even this guy's cloak might be a good place to start. Blocking some big colours. Just going to hit the air on the air compressor there because I turned it off a minute ago. Might even do like a nice little dry brush on them. Maybe in their original colours plus a touch of white, just to help pick out the raised details on them. Problem with dry brushing is that you can't do it over any wet stuff because obviously it just smears it around all over the place, isn't it? So this is the bit that takes a while. Maybe I should have tried to sneak my partner's hairdryer up here. Don't mind moving that little bit around on his shield because it's probably not going to be that colour. Same as on his shoes. That's just a little bit of pooling from running down the miniature. Just move that around. Yeah, I'm going to actually pick that up with a brush. Bit of water on the brush just to help pick that up. Excellent. Rolfer Creation Shop says, pretty much down to Duncan that I even got into painting. Love the stream so far. Thank you very much for the comment. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Duncan Rhodes brought a new dimension to the world of miniature painting. It's not that he made it like cool. I think that he probably did in some way. But he made it, I don't know, to see someone painting directly from Games Workshop, the way that they do things with their box art, or even how they approach different things, just made it look easy, or at least calm, do you know? And yeah, I just thought it was nice to see. It was nice to see. And I did walk past him at Salute Festival. Why am I saying Salute Festival? That's not his name. At the Salute Convention, the Salute show, last year in the Excel Centre in London. I don't really get starstruck. But that being said, I wonder if I would have melted if I'd actually met him. So I walked past him, I saw him, and he was like talking to people and showing people how to do stuff, because Duncan Rhodes now has his own company, and of course he's made his own range of paints, and that's what he was there sort of promoting, selling, etc. But naturally, as you can imagine, there was a big crowd of people around his table, and I just thought, there's so much other stuff here to go see. I wanted to go around and see it, and of course I think that I used that as an excuse to go, no, yeah, I don't get starstruck, and kind of walked off all nonchalantly, like my own personal hero. But I bet, actually, if I met him, I'd probably be like, oh, Duncan, I love you. But to be even considered in the same league, or even in the same sentence as Duncan Rhodes is, it's a lovely thing to say. Thank you very much. This is making my hand go really cold. Any recommendations for getting started with airbrushing? Yes, I could talk for hours about anything because that's my thing, I think. Spend a bit of money. Don't be frightened to spend a bit of cash if you've got it, because you'll get quality. I would recommend shopping on a website called Everything Airbrush or Anything Airbrush. Type in airbrush anything and then I'm sure it'll come up. There's a store there. I believe they're a UK-based web store. Everything Airbrush, and get all your stuff through them because they've got everything you need. It all comes from one place. The prices, while not competitive, are reasonable, and it also means that you're going to get it from a reputable retailer, and they are reputable. They've got different ranges of brands depending on what you want to do. Your compressor, just go with something. I'd go with something with a storage tank on it. You can get just the compressor, but it means that it's only ever going to flow air through while it's making that noise in the background. I'm sure you can hear that now. What it's doing now, without me pushing the trigger down, is it's storing the pressure into a tank, and then my air feed comes from that, and that basically means that the airflow that comes out is never going to be interrupted. So if there's a problem or a little air bubble or something like a vacuum bubble I suppose inside, it's not going to cough or sputter or do anything like that. It's going to act a lot more consistently and a lot more reliably, but it does cost a little bit more to have that air tank on there. With your airbrushes, I went with there's lots of brands to go for. Badger is a very good brand. I've gone with Harder and Steenbeck because they're German, and I like the not the rugged machining of German gear. I just think that they make very good quality, high precision stuff. They do lots of different types. This is the Evolution. It's a step or two above their basic entry airbrush. And it does wonders for me. There are many levels above this. There's even one called the Evolution Pro, I think it is, or Plus or something, where the little needle here has like a little nut on the back that sits through the side of this, and you can adjust it on the fly, and it's a resistance for how far you can pull the trigger back, which means that you can control your own rate of flow much better. It's a little bit more than this one. This is everything you need. You can get different needle sizes. The finer the needle size goes, the more detail it's going to go. You're never going to do like fine detail work like, you know, pin lining or eyes and things like that. But depending on what you want to do, you know, you want to go thinner for detail stuff or smaller stuff. If you're looking to do like mostly base coating, which is how I started out with, and you can go to quite larger needles. They're all very small, but they are larger for doing larger areas, and that's how I started out with an airbrush, and that's how I recommend you kind of get into it. They come with a needle as a part of their set, and it's just a basic needle, but of course if you replace the needle or change it out, then you need to have a nozzle because the nozzle fits that size needle. Replacement parts get expensive. I recently replaced the needle in mine and a new nozzle set in there, and that's easily 30 quid, so be aware. You can spend easily £200 to £250 on a decent airbrush plus your compressor. I put away about £300 for the whole set. Mike says, I second the don't buy cheap route. I learned the hard way. Recently got the new beginner Squidamar brush and it's leagues better. There you go. So, still a little bit of drying to do on this bad boy here. We are almost dry on this guy. What I really want to do is a bit of a dry brush on them, and I think that we're kind of getting to the point where it's a good chance to have a break, and that will help them settle down a little bit and dry a little bit more. And I'm going to do a dry brush on them, and I really need them to be really dry for that. What I think I'm going to do is just add a tiny spot of white to each of their base colours, and I can just give them a quick dry brush, and that will help pick up the edges, the surface details on them, etc. I'll just kind of give them a little bit more depth, and it'll help me pick out even more details on them. I shouldn't spend much more than a couple of days on these. Like I said, I'm only going to do these tonight on tonight's show, and more on that why a little bit later on. In the meantime, let's disappear. Where's my right button? We'll disappear for a very quick break. We've had like a record number of views, I think, so far in the live stream today. Thank you very much for coming along. Thanks to those people that are new and taking a chance and coming and joining in. It's so nice to see some new faces. It was a wonderful Christmas gift last week for having, we actually think had about 9 new subscriptions just between now and last week's show. We had 5 during the show, new subscribers. That was awesome. And then we had like 4 more as the week went on. We were at 142 last week, and we're up to 151 this week, and that's an unprecedented and uncomparable amount of subscriptions. So thank you so much for coming along, taking the time to do that. Makes my day. To have new people coming and joining us in the live chat for New Year's is just a wonderful way to end the 2023 year. But enough of me being sappy. I'm going to take a 10-minute break. Whatever it is that you go and do, go change your paint water. I'm going to go and get myself a grown-up juice. Bye! welcome back. I'll turn my own little microphone on so I can actually hear my own voice. I hope you had a good break. I went and got myself grown-up juice, so Happy New Year. Cheers. Make sure that doesn't bubble everywhere. Lovely, knocking everything over. I've only had one sip, oh my god. Some comments that went in just before we left there, just as we were coming back, was Kez saying, so I was thinking of pre-ordering the new fantastic paint set from Army Painter of 216 paints. £520? Maybe not. Yeah, if you buy a whole set of paints, like a whole paint range, it's a lot of money generally, but you are saving money. But there's going to be a lot of paints in that range that you're not going to use, so it might be worth buying a few and seeing how you get on with it. So if you know that you're going to use a particular blue, for example, then buy that one and see how you get on, and then build your range up over time. So you're only going to be using the paints that you expect to be using. The paint range that is in front of me, I got one of those really cool hobby paint set tray things. Hobby zone ones rather, and I've got the entire Game Air range from Vallejo. I use probably about 30% of them regularly, and others I pick and choose between them occasionally. Like today on the builds that I'm doing today, I've actually only ever used the Dead Flesh and the Barbarian Flesh, probably once before, maybe just kind of experimenting with different colours. In fact, now that I'm saying it, I can actually remember doing it, and I was doing a test. So you don't always use them all. It's nice to have them because it makes you look cool, or maybe you've got something to choose from, but if you don't need them, you don't need them. That being said, it was Overlord Games that suggested the Fanatic paints from Army Painter, and I think put a post up on the Easy 8 Discord page. So if you haven't already signed up to Discord, head on over to Discord and have a little look. Perhaps if it's not up on the Facebook page for Easy 8, I will share it over there later on, or perhaps if Overlord is watching right now, they might be able to do that for you guys, because the Fanatic paint range looks amazing. The colours, there's a massive range of colours. They are named really cool things, like, you know, really bright and gregarious names for fantasy painting, like we're all used to. But they're also they also have on the barcodes the names that you would find them just normally in the normal world, because every colour has its own name. They are renamed for fantasy painting, so it's worth just for that. Really, it's worth kind of having a look at them. But the fact is, what makes them really good paints is that they are what a lot of other paints have tried to do in the past, whereby one thin coat gives you really good intensity, really good opacity. When you paint them on even thin down, they are barely translucent, which is in most cases what we're after. Really good quality paints, very easy to control, a brilliant, honestly a fantastic range of colours. It's definitely worth going and checking them out. £520 for the whole range might sound like a lot of money, but you know, it's probably a little bit less than £2 a pot, and I do spend about £1.90 on one of these if I'm buying them individually. So it's kind of what you want out of it. I would just buy a couple and just give them a bit of a test and see what you think. So yeah, anyway, we're back from the break. I'm painting up my little Gloomhaven miniatures. I went downstairs and told my partner, hey, I'm painting your Gloomhaven miniatures and they're coming on really well. Can I borrow your hairdryer? And she had no other thing to say. So I've got a hairdryer and I've helped to speed up the drying of these miniatures. I'm now just kind of mixing a little bit of white into some of those original colours so that I can give a little bit of a highlight. And I'm just looking on and going, okay, we could do with a bit more definition in some of these little creases. The 6-pack on the Brute, for example, could do with a bit more colour intensity, but I'm going to do a dry brush first. Then I'm going to put a little bit of paint and just leave it to pool there so that the paint stains those areas, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of definition. We'll see how far we get today. Don't forget, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. We've had an absolute deluge of subscribers lately and I'm over the moon about it, but the community can only grow from here. So if you haven't already and you like what you're doing, like what we're doing, and you like being a part of this community, please do subscribe. While you're at it, hit the thumbs up button, because, you know, all hail the algorithm. The more that you share it, the more that you subscribe it, the more people that watch, the more people that like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, all those things, the more the name Easy 8 gets put out there, the better our community gets, bigger it gets, and the more love we can share. Here's to 200 subscribers. If you get me 200 subscribers, not additional, up to 200 subscribers, I'll let my cats in the studio. It's not something I like doing because they eat my miniatures. I found teeth marks in everything. Just earlier on, one of my cats came over and was like, that's a nice thing you've got there, and then put it in his mouth and then walked off with it. I was like, I'm playing with that. Cheers, thanks so much. Anyway, I'm going to be mixing some paints to make some highlights. Let us know if you're working on anything this evening, if you are working or painting on a project this evening, or just maybe building it. Perhaps you're just watching, chilling out with a beer. Come and let us know. Get chatting in the live chat, because these guys are well chatty. Anyway, here we go. Where am I going? That button. Forgotten what I'm doing. Staff says, cats! Yeah, I love my cats, but they are douchebags. Okay, so I'm literally, I don't know if you can see it really because the light's a little bit glary, and if I move that away, I've got some of the dead green colour here for the brute, and I'm just mixing in a little bit of white. I say mixing in a little bit of white, it's actually, I've got one really runny paint because it's for the airbrush, but I've also got the Vallejo range for normal brush because a friend gave them to me, wasn't using them. His life is changed a little bit, you know, with work and things like that, and doesn't really have time to do a lot of the painting that he used to. He was like, well, you might as well have these. Very kind of you, Mark. Thank you so much. Alexi has joined us. Hi, Alexi. How are you doing? First time I've seen you in the live chat. For those of you that want to know, Alexi's an old work colleague of mine, and came along to see what's going on. Hope you had a good Christmas, Alexi. Literally just, I think I've probably put a little bit too much white in that. Yeah, that's just a little bit too much. I'm going to be like dancing around on the margin now. There we go. Staff says, pretty sure I have a panther with Bink's teeth marks on the barrels. Yeah, you probably do. Yeah, my cats, they can't be trusted. They like miniatures. They like eating them. Sorry, mate. If you come over for, you know, to show me a model, to bring a model over, you want to play a game with me or something like that, you put it down, my cat will be like, oh, cheers for the snack. Everything, every cable, every little thing in the house has got teeth marks in it. My phone charger, probably have to buy a new one because it's got teeth marks like penetrating the wire. Just found it the other day. Alexander Sawyer. Hey, what's up? Hi, Alexander. Another new name. We're getting so many new faces today. We're getting new subscribers. We're getting new followers. We're getting new likes. Alexi's got COVID. I'm so sorry, mate. I hope that didn't ruin Christmas for you. Chin up and grab yourself a grown-up juice. Don't bubble. Don't do it. Don't do it. God, what a way to start the new year that would be. Anyway, I hope you feel better, mate. But thanks for all the continued love and new subscriptions, etc. Absolutely loving it lately. It's getting really good, isn't it? Right, I'm just trying to find a brush that would be really good for dry brushing. I don't have a decent dry brush set, so I'm just trying to find one that's got a good sort of shaped head to it, that's soft and pliable, but not too soft. What's this one here? That one looks pretty good. Okay, let's try this one. A little bit raggedy, but actually that's not bad. Is it nice and clean? It is nice and clean. Okay, so I'll get a bit of this new colour. It's whited down a little bit to make it a bit more paler. So you can see, here's the guy. I put some colour on him to kind of bring some definition out in him. You can see all the details in him now. He's got a nice fur coat. He's got some nice muscles, good shield, nice sword there. But to kind of bring a little bit more of the raised details out, what I'm going to do is put this highlighted colour on him. You can see that there's a colour change there now, yeah? So, I'm going to wipe a little bit off. Don't wipe, when you're dry brushing, don't wipe your brushes off on a tissue. You need, it sounds a little bit backwards, you need a little bit of moisture in your brush for the paint to transfer from bristle to model. I know it's called dry brushing, but actually if your paint is dry, it's not going to do anything. What it will do is it will go onto your model and it will come off chalky, and it will build up and it will create a texture, and you'll end up having like a texture artifact on your miniature. What I do, very muckily, is I wipe it on the back of my hand. Or you could have a texture palette, which I don't have. I'd like to make one. I don't have one. Anyway, hopefully most of that wet paint on there is dry. I might give it a quick blast with the hairdryer just to dry them one last time, because I can see that watery paint on there is still a little bit, well, watery. Let's give it a go. Okay, I think that's all the luck I'm going to get, really. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to start on his back, because I'm not actually going to... This isn't going to be the same colour later on. I'm going to totally change that. But I can just see if it's the right colour. Has it got enough white in it for me? It's going to take a minute for it to take effect. The problem with that stain colour that I put on there, that brown watered colour, the wash, that's the word I'm looking for, is, yeah, I'll move it around a little bit, but it will mix in with the paint in my brush, and it will change the highlight colour. That's working quite well. And it will be quite hard to recover from that. I'll end up smearing it around all over the place and essentially repainting the miniature with a brown, and that's not what I want. But practicing on this bit over here, which is not going to be this colour at the end, I can go, do you know what, that's the right colour. I didn't want it too paler than the original, but obviously I've got to have something that stands out a little bit. So here we go, on the front now. Yeah, that's nice. That's pulling out some details. What I'm hoping for is a really, really subtle effect. The watered down brown, that sepia colour, has gone into all the recesses, showing me all the depth and the details in the depth. Muscle creases, you know, details between limbs and things like that. Little armour plates or pouches. It looks like he's got a pouch with some sort of foxtail or something on the side of it, or maybe even like a little scabbard for his sword or something down there. And the more things like stains and things in there and then highlights over the top, the easier it is for me to see. It's quite a wet patch down there. Wet patch between his legs. Oh dear, he wet himself. So just being aware of that when I take the dry brush in there. I'm now just going to wipe my brush off on my thumb, just in case I get a bit of brown on there. I don't want to smear that around, really. His shield's not going to be this colour either, but I'm going to dry brush it all the same. Keep consistent with what I'm doing. Okay. Lorna, who's actually Geoff, says, hey, just had an idea for your next game show demo game. Kill Team, but with the 1/18th scale figures. You have to start with your Marine Force. That would be... I'd need a hell of a table to do that. It would be cool. Could you imagine? Taking the mini out of miniatures. Yeah, I'd actually like to see that. That would be kind of cool. Okay. Do a bit more on his face up there, because face is a focal point, right? We want to see his face. He's got a bit of a snarl. He's got a snarl. Could I be any more Devonshire? He's got a bit of a snarl. Snarl. He's got that snarl. Oh, so Devonshire, it's unbelievable. There we go. Got a bit of a grimace. That's a good word. Got some fangs. Bit of a meanie. Okay, there we go. That's done a good job, hasn't it? Nice. Now I've got the little one over here, the little tinkerer. Still got a few wet spots on there as well, despite having blasted it for a little while with the hairdryer in the break. I'll give it another shot in a minute, but just like I've done with this one, is I will need to do a little bit of white with that flesh colour here, that barbarian flesh is what it's called. So yeah, I'm going to mix a little bit of white into that as well. Have I got rid of all of that green colour from this brush? Mostly, yes. I could wash it out, but if I do that, I'm going to have a really wet brush, aren't I? I'll just try and rub that paint out of it. Another reason why you don't want to have your brush so dry when you're dry brushing, or the paint dried out on a piece of tissue, is that it will start to dry inside the bristles, and that's just bad news. Look after your brushes, guys. Okay, a bit of barbarian flesh. It's already mixed up, I don't need to worry about that so much. I'm going to put a drop of that in the palette over here. Okay. A bit of white. I've got a bit of white there already, but it's got a bit of green mixed in. I'm going to be very careful with that. I don't like to waste paint. Scoop that out. There we go. Well saved. Now, I'm going to need some more. So this paint is actually designed for brushes. The other paint that's in there already is designed for airbrushes. Airbrush paint is just much runnier. and it's not very good for dry brushing at all, which is why I'm using the brush white for it, just because it's just easier to dry. I've put too much white in there already. Silly boy. There we go. That's not a bad colour. Could probably go a little bit darker. It's probably a little bit on the light side. Okay, just a smidge. That's a technical term, that is. Smidge. You're welcome. That's a better colour. Nice, nice. Yep, excellent. Right, wash that brush out. Okay, just like I did a minute ago, I'm just going to hit this guy with the airbrush, the hairdryer. Just one more go, just to see if I can take out any of the moisture that's left in there. Bear with me. Ace, that worked fine. Okay, there's a couple of tiny little shiny bits on there, but I'm wondering if that's actually just where the paint has dried with a little bit more, just a bit more paint's kind of gathered there, and that means that it's a bit more shiny. These washes, they do dry a little shinier. Okay, that's actually quite a close colour to my own skin colour, isn't it? Check that out. Ah, what do you know? Normally I would add like a little drop of moisture into these brushes when dry brushing, but actually there's enough moisture from the airbrush paint in this one. I'm just doing tiny amounts of dry brushing. It's not like I've got any more than this, so I'm quite happy to leave it at that really. Again, starting on the back, because there's a little backpack there, which I'm pretty confident isn't going to remain the same colour as the skin. Got a little cloak or a little coat or something there, which will probably change colour too. So practicing on an area where you know that you're not going to want that same colour sticking out. Such a small character, this one, that I don't actually need much more dry brushing than that, but it is just helping me spot the details because it's such a small miniature. I don't know what's going on there really. Okay, gonna leave that on the side. That's all my dry brushing done today. I'm just gonna wash this dry brush out. I'm not gonna use him anymore. Of all that dry paint I have, and I've got like a proper paintbrush cleaner fluid that I'll use later on and give them a good old scrub out. Excellent, time for a beer. Wonderful. Don't froth up, thank you. Half an hour left, excellent. Just clean my workspace up. Fantastic. Right, let's go back to the brute, let the other guy dry off for a second. So, like I said a minute ago, just the fact that the paint has dried a little bit, even that wash has dried a little bit, has made it look like that there's not a lot of definition in some of this area here. He's got quite a six-pack, quite a formidable guy, and I want that to stand out. I want it to be quite a feature on him. So I'm just going to go back in with my sepia colour, and I'm just going to drop a little pool of it in there. I'm just going to let it sit there for a bit, and the longer it sits there, the more it'll dry, and that colour will kind of saturate that area. It's not going to have the chance to sort of roll away. So, got a load on the end of my brush. Just going to drop that in. Yeah, that's nice, that's good. If I was to slop this all over the place, it's going to filter the colour. It's going to apply it over all of that dry brushing that I've just done, which I've used to highlight the area. And of course, this would dull all that down again, so I'm trying to be careful that I don't go super crazy with this second wash. Just wanted his muscles to stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to come in later on and do all his armour up and things. I think he's got a hairy chest with some sort of like bars for armour going across him. Yeah, very, very bizarre. I like it. It's different. Just drop a couple of drops in some of the other details there so I can see them a little bit easier. And again, a little bit on his face. So you can see his mouth and his eyes. There we go. And that's that. It's going to take a minute for that to dry, and I don't want to agitate it with the hairdryer or anything like that either, because it's just going to move it around or it'll evaporate probably a bit too quickly and the paint colour will disappear. Don't do it. Right, back to the Tinkerer. So I've got my little reference sheets here. Make sure I've got clean hands. Here are my reference sheets. So you can see that there is like an overwhelming colour across the whole thing. The idea is that the artist wanted the blue to stand out a little bit, but the more you look at it, the more you realise that there's sort of a paler, sort of almost yellowy green sort of colour to the skin, and the armour is quite coppery. Now I'll have a little look at all my colours that I've got. I've got some different metallic colours here, all very basic metallics, but I've got different golds. I've got a polished gold. Might not be all that appropriate. I've got a glorious gold. That's very, very dark gold. I've got the burps because of my beer now. Neither of those golds are appropriate, I don't think. I've got a bronze and a brass. This is the bronze and this is the brass. Now I thought that I had a copper as well, but I don't appear to have that here. But it's very easy to affect a metallic colour. You just add something like a seraphim sepia shade to it or something like that, and or just even wipe it over the top, and it will help blend that colour in. What I think I might do with this is I'll do a brass colour. Might do a bronze. Ooh, I don't know. If I did a bronze, it's probably too close to the subject colour. But if I did a bronze and then highlighted it, a brass, I get the brass and bronze mixed up, it might stand out a bit more. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Or if I did a polished gold and then did a stain over the top of that, I wonder. I'm going to do a polished gold, and then I'm going to affect it with colours over the top later on. Okay, let's put all my other ones away. Got a bronze, got a brass. No, don't knock your beer over, Danny, that would be awful. Okay, polished gold. I can see that the medium is separated from the pigment, so it's going to need a really, really good shake. Geoff, they're saying, yup. What are you saying yup to? You can't just say things like that. Yup. What do you mean, yup? Stop that nonsense. Okay, let's just give this a good old mix up on the old Wazomatic. It needs a good old Waz. Waz your paints. I think my Wazomatic's seen better days. Okay, there we go. Right. It's a really, really light gold. It's really nice. I used this quite a bit on my Orc build, along with the brass colour as well. Right. It's a very watered down one because it's designed for the airbrush. I do have the brush version of it. I don't think I need to get it out, although I have just seen it on the side over here. Well, I've got it in the palette now. Let's give it a second. So we got like a little pauldron. A pauldron, for those of you that don't know, is a shoulder armour guard thing. I'm going to use my small brush for this. Might not be the right colour, but we'll give it a try. I'll tell you what though, it's a nice colour and it stands out, and I will filter that down later on by putting a little wash over it. But what I can tell is that it's very, very watery. So there's a reason why I've got it on the side over there. It's because I used it recently in the October build, and Clearly I needed something with a bit more substance in it. That stands out quite nice, I like that. It's okay. Not really got a good focus on here, have we? There we go. That's better. Okay, do you know what? Don't cause yourself any strife. Bleh. Okay. That's the one that is made for brush and not airbrush. See if that's any better. Exactly the same colour. Stafford says, Dave, I'm building my Achilles with a 17-pounder. Google Battlefront Achilles instructions. Good old Google. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to work with. Looks like you've got like a little chest guard at the front. Looking at my reference over here. Have I? Is it? I don't know. I think that is a big bit of armour. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to do it. Throwing caution to the wind. You can't stop me. And my partner, who I'm painting this for, said, can you even paint that? Isn't it not too small? I was like, nah, it's fine. Walking away thinking, I hope I can. You know I'm concentrating when I'm not saying anything. Those of you that know me really well will know that I very easily get stuck into details unnecessarily in some cases. So I'm really fighting quite hard to not get absorbed in too far. This doesn't need all of that, all of the effort into detail. It's a counter for a little game. I don't need to go silly with it. Less is more. I want to make him look as cool as I can, bearing that in mind. So we've got a little bit of armour that comes down the top of the arm. We've got a shoulder guard called a pauldron, and we've got a van brace, which is what is the upper arm. I actually think that the upper arm is a different thing. I think van brace is generically the arm and the lower arm. Can't quite remember now. I should know this because I've been wearing my own suit of armour for over 20 years. But I just like wearing it. I don't really like naming it. Okay, that looks kind of cool. Picking out these tiny little details like this is very transformative, because you start to see the details without really having to focus on it too much. It starts to set a lot of the different parts aside from each other. He's got big goggles, but he's also got big googly eyes as well. And his googly eyes glow blue. He's got a weird head. It's very peculiar. He's got like loads of potions and loads of arrows and all sorts of things on him as well. Ropes and grappling hooks and, you know, just stuff. Looks like he's got some nice shin armour, or at least, at the very least, some knee armour. So, I'm going to do him a favour. Do this guy solid, and I'm going to paint his knees. but because of the angle of his legs and the way that he's standing, you're probably not going to see his knees very well. So I wonder if that was entirely necessary. Meh, I enjoyed doing it, it was fun. Just trying to make sure that the gold sits on the chest armour as well as I can get it. There's a couple of straps and a weird little icon in the middle of his chest, which also glows blue, and I'll pick that out as a different colour in a minute. Okay, there we go. Now, I think he's got some wrist guards. If we have a look at the armour over here, you can see he's got some pauldrons. He's got these upper arm guards here, but he's got a strap with a crossbow on the back of his hand. That's super cool, right? But he's also, is this like a natural armour, or is this like a wrap that he's got on his arm? I don't know. It's very hard to tell what is the intention, but it's also, is it worth me just kind of doing what I want to do on here and having some sort of artist's sort of direction? Just do my own thing? Yeah. That's what I'll do. I'm just going to do my own thing. No one can stop me. It's make-believe, right? Quite a bit of paint on my brush there. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, I like him. I think that he's got a little bit of... Well, it looks like he's got some sort of a leather skirt thing in there. I'm going to paint the cloak on the back a different colour entirely to sort of break up these quite warm tones that we've got. And I'm going to probably do that a nice grey. I've got a wolf grey, which is a very purpley sort of a grey. I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to do it. Who cares? I don't think I've ever opened this paint before. It's going to give it a good old shake. Okay. Nope, that's actually still separated. It's just coming out as a purple ink. I'm going to give that a waz. Steph says, and I have an Achilles. And some fingerprints due to super glue. Yeah, it'll do that, mate. well done. Okay, has that done the job? Yeah. This is the sort of colour that people use for their space wolves, I think, in their space marines. I'm just going to go in and paint this cloak, this colour, and I'll probably like highlight it, dry brush it with a normal grey, and that should add some sort of colour and depth to it as well. One of the things that I enjoy about airbrush paints and using a normal brush on them is that because they're so watery, is that they're already thinned down. Some of them you've got to apply many layers to kind of get that opacity back because they're so watered. It's too much because they're designed to just kind of go through the airbrush. And others, they're just fine. It's a nice colour. It's working really well actually. That was a good choice of colours. That was literally off the cuff. Like I said, none of this is planned. We're just having fun tonight. making sure that colour's not pooling too much. He's got a big rope hanging from his side here. That's what that little detail is on his side. So small, it's so hard to see, but you can see he's got like a little thing just hanging over his right thigh, and it's a coiled up rope. So I'm going to paint it mostly this colour, and then later on I can come and paint that rope just by picking out the edge detail on it, basically. I think we're about halfway there with this one, really. It won't take me much longer to get this guy done. Like I say, I'm not going to go crazy with the amount of details on these. It has certainly been nice to do something very, very different than my usual getup. A lot of this colour has come out. I didn't need all of this. Oops. Okay. Is there any other area I can see where this little colour should be? Maybe up in there? Yeah, because I don't think this is a skirt. This is like an overcoat or like a cloak sort of feature. But the armour on the front kind of covers up where it might be on the chest. It doesn't come all the way around, so you can see some sort of like six-pack feature in there and some sort of Roman style skirt belt feature. And then he's got a big backpack on. So any other area where you might see this is quite hidden. There we go, and that's covered up really well. It's just taken me a couple of coats, and it's dried as I've gone around and done it, which is great. A good quality paint, that one. Good colour. Nice. I'll pick up the backpack. I'll do it in a slightly different colour. I think I've got a khaki here somewhere. That might be quite a nice colour to do it. Let's have a little look. I've got a khaki for brush. I've got a khaki for airbrush. Let's give that one a go as well. We are getting very close to the end of today's show. Geoff's laughing at Stafford. Thanks, Geoff. Sympathetic as normal. What's a modelling night without a trip to A&E? Yeah. Yeah, you guys are the resident bleeders, aren't you? For sure. It's a success. Of course. Okay. This might not be the right colour at all. I wonder. Let's just pop it down on the palette and see what it looks like. It looks fairly decent. Let's give it a go. Colours can be changed by filters and, you know, washes and things. So I'm just quite keen to get some colour on there and see what happens. It's a nice colour, but it's a little too close to the original base colour there, I think. I'm gonna smother it on and see what happens. I've got a couple of like sandy colours that I might go down to. Give those a try. Got a weird hose pipe thing coming out of his backpack that connects into his left hand. Probably to like fire some sort of weird stuff out of. This guy's all about potions and tricks and throwing stuff. The Tinkerer, he's got gadgets, man. What do you guys think? Go into focus. It's a bit too samey, isn't it? It's not enough. Not enough. I can hit it with. I've got a really nice green shade actually. That'll probably bring it out quite nice. A bit of Celia green shade. So I'll stay with it for a second because it might change it entirely. Just quickly go over with another colour, another coat, sorry. Nice. Ooh. Got a little quiver for all his little bolts for his crossbow. Just down the side of it there, I'll pick that out in a different colour as well. What's really going to look quite good is the glowy eyes. I'm just going to put some spots of white on there, just drop some watered down blue on them, and hopefully that will give a nice little glow effect on there, see what happens. But we're not going to see all of this today, are we? This is going to be a catch up later on effort. That's fine, that's okay. I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer quickly. Lush. Right. Celia green shade. Interesting colour. I really like this, and I don't use it. I don't get the opportunity to use it enough. As you can see, it's a really weird green tone. It's not your usual thing. If I move the light away here, you'll be able to see my palette. Add that on there. Ooh, look at that. It's kind of, yeah, it's a very weird. I don't know. Don't know what colour to describe that. It's like a bottle green, but it's kind of not. Okay. It's a very intense colour. Definitely going to need a highlight dry brush to take that colour back a bit, but it is working. Very, very intense. Okay, I like that. Kind of got a sort of a military bag feel to it. Letting it run into a lot of the recesses and picking it up where it's collected on the surfaces of of that bag. That's nice. That's good. Do you know what? That was a good shout. Well done, Danny. You're so cool. I know. Oh, because I'm cool. Beer. Yum. No blood leakage tonight. Oh, yet. Definitely a success then. Staff says, Geoff, I've got that blood red sky, so we have another new game for next year. Yeah, that'd be nice. P51, please. I believe for the scale, it is 1/200th scale. Now, what colour shall I wash that skirt with? I'm thinking that I might have to make my own here. I want a violet almost. I've got a violet. It's a very nasty colour. It's very strong. I might be able to wash my own one down. I'm going to give it a go. Whatever. Who cares about mixing my own stuff? The lid on this pot is damaged. Very, very strong violet colour. Now the reason I'm using purple or violet for a wash on that cloak is because the grey that I've used is slightly purple toned. Only ever so slightly. And I'm going to use this quite sparingly, so I'm going to add a drop of water to it. Because I don't want it to filter that colour. if I add water to it, like I always say, if you add water, you'll break the surface tension of the colour down, which means that you'll get less of a filter and you'll get more of a recess wash. So it's going to run into the creases of this cloak. Now I will come up and neaten it up by going back over with that original grey colour. What I'm looking for is the pooling in the ruffles of the fabric. Now, because this is such a small miniature, it's quite hard to tell between all the colours on there sometimes, especially between the gold and the skin. I am going to add a filter to the gold colour on there, but I might be able to drop a little bit of black wash in occasionally in various places just to help, like basically the outline in a comic book character, just to basically add a bit of definition between some of the different locations. That's not something that I would do on every single model that I paint, but on this one I'm noticing that there's so much going on, and I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 colours on there so far, that I might want to help the observer's eye by, you know, making things a little bit easier to spot. Of water. What that might do is it might start moving a bit of that paint around into a few other areas. Tricky paint. Might need a bit more. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. Right, so some colour choices that I've got to make. Bring my lights in a bit so you can see if I bring that close to the camera. Here we go. Yeah, he's looking alright, isn't he? So, got a nice skin colour on there. Still got some details on the front to split up and separate. I'm going to try and paint some straps in. Going to paint the crossbow and the quiver. I'll probably just do those in a nice darker brown. Not too dark, but, you know, something to make them stand out. Or maybe dark. Put a bit of metal in there, so silver colours, and I'm going to add a filter to the brass colour. Again, I might just use Seraphim Sepia. A couple of reasons for that. One, it's the same colour that I've already used to wash the whole thing, so it'll be a unifying blend, but it'll also filter it and kind of turn it into a slightly coppery colour, which I'm looking forward to. Got some boots on there. I'll do those in a nice dark grey, like a really nice dark grey. And we've got some potion bottles and things. I'm going to paint those bright blue. Pick out the belts, all those sorts of things in one colour, the same colour as the crossbow or straps, whatever. We've got a face on here that's really hard to see. Really, really hard to see that face at all. In fact, looking at the features on this guy's face, got virtually no nose and a really small mouth. The features really are the eyes. And I think they are supposed to be like another set of goggles, like he's got a couple of sets. So I might add a slight Agrax Earthshade to his face, that just like on this guy, when I added another layer of sepia to his face, it was just enough to pick the mouth out, the eyes out, etc. Yeah. So it might just be enough to kind of help identify the features on this face a little bit more. The blue is going to really stand out. We've got a lot of warm tones on there, and the blue, being a cold colour temperature, should really stand out. Come on, focus. Anytime now. Doesn't want to do it. Why not? Why you not want to focus on me? Screw you, old autofocus. Ooh. There we go. I like it, it's cool. And he's tiny. He's at the same size as my thumbnail. 1/72 says Geoff, does it cover World War One? I don't think it does. It's got 2 boxes. One is 1/72 scale, says Staff. That's what you're talking about. The other is 1/200 scale. Yeah, they are actually quite different scales, which is a shame. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to carry on this evening. So my game doesn't stop here, really. I'm going to carry on painting these guys. Got a lot to do on the Brute. Got a little bit left to do on the Tinkerer. I'm going to colour their bases. Nice blue. Sorry, I've got blue colour. It wasn't blue we discovered. It was this sort of colour, which I've got some nice shades. I'm going to do a nice green, blue colour on the base of here, so they become counters as well as miniatures. And I'll present them to my partner tomorrow. So let's come away from here. This is a silly place. So that's another day and another year done. Thanks ever so much for coming along and keeping me company while I painted some fun little miniatures. Going into next year, I'm not going to be here next week. I need a little break to kind of start the new year off. It's also going to be my partner's birthday. So rather than just trying to do the show on another day where we won't get so many viewers or people might miss it, I'm just going to take the time to have a little bit of time at home and enjoy the start of the new year and going straight back into work as well. So I will be in the second week of January, but it's a 5-week month, so you're still going to get loads out of me in January, so don't worry. So yeah, that's that really. We've got a lot to look forward to in 2024. We're going to be doing quite a few shows. We'll go into a few places to visit. We're going to be going to the Plymouth Wargaming show, or Pause. We're going to be going to the Exeter show, Legionary. We also are going to be going to Salute in London. There's quite a few of us that are going to be going to that one. And of course, I'm looking forward to next December, which is a long way away, of course. I'm going back to Bradford to do the Recon show, where we actually had a stall and set up, the camera and just played games and had a wonderful day. And we got invited for free, and it was a guest of honour thing. And it was lovely. And you guys, of course, are all invited. You're all welcome to come to that. We're going to be going to the Cobberton Combat Collection, which is here in North Devon. It's a very, very short trip away from me and some of the nearby viewers. We're going to be going to Bovington Tank Museum, which is in Dorset, which is only a couple of hours away for myself. And you are all welcome to come along to those. The more people that we get together, the better. Of course, we're going to geek out, nerd out, and talk about tanks and models and whatever else it is that we're looking at. If you've got any other suggestions of places to go to, then do drop it down in the comments down there. Hit me up on Facebook, whatever you like. Geoff saying, good fun, thanks, we'll see you all next year. Road trip. Could you please put up a list of the events and dates, please, says Kez. Of course I will. I will do that as soon as I get my stuff together. And yeah, you can start planning to go to all of these. If you want to go to them and don't quite know how to kind of get in touch with us or kind of get together, what should we do because you've never met us before, just get in contact with me in any of the platforms up here. I read and respond to every single message because I can at the moment with 150 subscribers. It's not thousands of people to talk to, so I do respond to every single one of you. So come and have a chat. If you want to, you can go and have a chat with me straight after this show in the Easy 8 After Party on Discord. If you haven't got a Discord account, very, very simple. There's a link to all of our platforms down there in the description of this video. Click on the Discord one and it will take you to a log on for Easy 8, and down the left hand side there's a load of like little links or whatever that just takes you to little tiny rooms where you can show different pictures or talk about different subjects. One of them right at the top is rules. Click on rules. There's a little thumbs up icon at the bottom. Click on that and it says it acknowledges to Discord that you have read the rules and you'll have full access to the Easy 8 thing. A little bit further down from rules, there are several video chat rooms, and you'll see my name there. It's really easy to see. So if you want to come and have a chat, I'm going to be on a live video chat where we're going to be having another adult juice. Shouldn't call it an adult juice because it sounds wrong. A grown-up juice. You can come along. We don't mind our P's and Q's over there. This is for family. The Discord chat's for everything else. And you can come and talk to me and make plans and preparations live to me on video if you fancy. There you go. Moving into next year, got so much stuff to do. I think that it's time that I had a really good sort out of all of the backlog of models that I've got. I've got so much stuff that I want to do because it's fun, but there's so much stuff that I'm probably never going to get around to. I've also got lots of bitty bits and pieces and whatever. But it's probably time that I just sorted through it all and got rid of it. Perhaps I might sell it or give it away, or maybe some of it's just worthy of the bin. That sounds sad, doesn't it? But it might be. But I've got a lot of stuff that's also time to go to a collection and really needs painting. So if I could put it all together, sort it all out, arrange it all out, then I can see very clearly what I've got. Because around me, I've made it nice and tidy in here so you can't quite see, but around me is this swarm of detritus and just stuff, because I'm just a mucky pup, really. What I'm going to start painting on the next episode, I don't quite know yet. I've got a King Tiger here, a 28mm King Tiger. That might be a nice one to start with. Done a lot of wartime stuff lately. Maybe it's time to go and do something 40k for Warhammer. Who knows? We'll see what happens. So much stuff to do. Looking forward to connecting with all of you guys in the new year. So again, thank you to everyone who's made the subscriber count jump up massively, dramatically in this last week and a bit. And thanks to everybody so far. It's been a wonderful couple of years, and I'm really looking forward to 2024. So keep on sharing. Please keep on subscribing. Tell a friend, tell a colleague. Go shout it out. Put a poster up where you work. Put a poster up in your house. Bring your kids along. Bring your friends' kids. Get your friends together. Start your own little club and start painting. That's what this show is all about. It's about carving out a couple of hours of every week and painting up these massive backlogs that we're all building up, just so you can get some paint on your grey or half-finished miniatures. That's what this is all about. So bring some people along, because together we can keep each other company while we have to do the hard work of painting everything. There you go. While you're at it, please do consider thumbs up the video, make a little comment. All of these things go a long way to the algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And the more that we get Easy 8 out there, the more that the community will grow, and just a better place it will become. Anyway, that's enough for me, really. I hope you guys have had a wonderful year. I certainly have. Thank you very much for keeping me company through all of it, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in 2024. In the meantime, stay safe, be kind, and keep on painting. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Another year done. Time for another grown-up juice. Yum, yum, yum. Happy New Year!